Nationalities are not just a given identification, but it's a given power. And every Jamaican should have the right to exercise their power as a Jamaican. Just like on YouTube, figure your brain some new food. Hello people, and welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time on the channel, a special welcome to you. I ask that you check out the rest of my videos. If you like what you see, give them a thumbs up, leave a comment, but more than anything, I'm asking that you subscribe to the channel. Today, the question is, who are Jamaicans and do they have rights? I've decided to cover this issue because of the incidents that's been taking place in Jamaica recently, and I'm referring to the 40 plus Jamaicans that were not allowed to enter Jamaica and the 40 plus Jamaican deportees that were allowed to enter Jamaica. It is obvious that the scale is unbalanced, and because of that reason I've decided to cover the issue and ask the question, who are Jamaicans? I'm going to give you the answer of who are Jamaicans and do they have rights in my own words. In other words, I did not do any research. I did not search through any legal Jamaican documents to see if their definition differs from my belief and my understanding. Jamaicans are nationals of Jamaica. In most cases than others, those nationalities were acquired by birth. People that was born on the island of Jamaica, especially those who were born of one or two Jamaican parents. Other Jamaicans are Jamaicans that were born elsewhere and acquired their Jamaican citizenship through legal proceedings. And having a Jamaican nationality also give you full access and protection to the laws of Jamaica. And one of the most fundamental law that Jamaicans acquire after becoming a Jamaican is the right of abode. Jamaicans have the right to reside on the island of Jamaica unconditionally. And when I say unconditionally, that means that Jamaican can actually live in a house, or that Jamaican can actually be homeless, and there's nothing that anyone can do about it because he or she is a Jamaican and this is their home. This is their righteous place of abode. Other than that, to my understanding, the only way I believe or I'm aware that a Jamaican can become a non-Jamaican is one, if the international government bodies no longer see Jamaica as a recognized country for one reason or another, the title Jamaican becomes mute. It is pretty much useless legally. And another way a Jamaican can become a non-Jamaican is if that Jamaican migrates to another country and decides to give up his legal right of citizenship to be a Jamaican and adopts a different country's nationality. So you guys know how I felt about the 43 Jamaicans that were not allowed to enter Jamaica during the pandemic period. I found that it was legally and morally wrong on all levels, because at the same time I have to address the 40 plus Jamaican deportees that were accepted during the same time the 43 were rejected. I just had to cover that because me and one of my subscribers was going back and forth with the conversation. By the way, big up to Faith M. I do enjoy when people do not agree with my points because each one teach one, and you could teach me something while I could teach you something. I'm not that stubborn. I'm not that self-centered in my acquired knowledge or the wisdom that I possess. In reference into the conversation that I was having with that particular subscriber who says that the nationalities of the 43 Jamaicans on the ship were not stolen, I, in objection, says I disagree, because in my eyes and from my point of view, if they cannot be allowed to enter into their own country, then their nationality was not only stolen but stripped away from them. And no other country has any legal obligation to accept them into their country. When it comes to nationality, you have to keep law and legal standards in mind. And only under some extreme, and when I say extreme, I mean extreme circumstances, a government can suspend the rights of nationals. And in this particular case, it was not an extreme circumstances, because if it was an extreme circumstances, 40 plus Jamaican deportees could not have been allowed to enter the country. Nationalities are not just a given identification, but it's a given power. And every Jamaican should have the right to exercise their power as a Jamaican. And like I just said before, the number one power of being a Jamaican is the power of having the right to reside on the island of Jamaica. Whether that person is a sick person, or whether that person is branded a criminal, it does not make that person less of a Jamaican. Speaking of branding criminals, might as well I take on the subject of the deportees now, because one of the comments that was made in regards to the deportees to me was that in most cases they are not wrongfully accused. What can I say? Well, what I can say is what I did say. Whether or not they were wrongfully accused or they were guilty of their crimes, it does not make them any less Jamaicans. But what I want to highlight to my viewers and subscribers is this. When it comes to the deportees, maybe we should not be so quick to brand these people as criminals. We have no control over what other countries brand people, whether that's foreigners or that's their own national. So most Jamaicans are deported from the UK, the United States of America, and Canada, because that's where most Jamaicans migrate to. However, I'm going to stay focused on the United States of America because, one, I'm familiar with the United States of America and its law, especially Pennsylvania law. And I'm going to clear up a few things, not so much in defense of deportees, but in defense of human beings as a whole, in particular Caribbean people who migrate to the United States of America. For those Jamaicans who have never left Jamaica, never lived in the United States of America, I'm not talking about visiting, I'm talking about Jamaicans or Caribbean people who have never lived in the United States of America, then you pretty much may not have been exposed to the underbelly truth, the underlying truth of the United States of America, especially when it comes to crime and incarceration. To Jamaicans, when we hear that an individual has been arrested, charged, and convicted in any countries of the world, we often see them as criminals. And I don't blame Jamaicans for seeing people as criminals, because in Jamaica, 9 times out of 10, when someone is arrested and charged, they are usually guilty of the crime. However, Jamaicans need to become a little more open-minded and take themselves out of the Jamaican tunnel vision when you're dealing with international activities. Because in the United States of America versus, say, Jamaica, okay, let me start with Jamaica first. In Jamaica, the correctional system in Jamaica, the correctional department, could not be named anything better. The correctional. So the aim here is to rehabilitate. The aim here is to correct someone who has gone astray, to come back on the righteous path and be an honest citizen in Jamaica. And the government of Jamaica tend to lose when somebody has to go to prison in Jamaica, to my knowledge, because now you become a burden of the state, and the government of Jamaica has to feed you, house you, and make sure that you're healthy. In the United States of America, it's not so much of a burden of the state when someone goes to prison. In the United States of America, in most cases, incarceration and conviction all falls in a part of a business. Most prisons in the United States of America are privately owned. They run like corporations. So pretty much, if I have enough money and I feel like investing in a prison, that is what I do. Now, if I invest in a prison, I expect to get a turnover on my investment, financial turnover I need. And in order for me to have a turnover on my investment, prisons have to have inmates. And in order for prisons to have inmates, people have to be convicted. And in order for people to be convicted, people have to be found guilty, or people have to plead guilty in order to be sent to prison under the United States of America law. So if you follow that course that I just explained to you, you will see why the United States of America, in comparison to any and every country in the whole wide world, has the most people incarcerated. Not only the most people incarcerated, the United States of America is the only country of the world that has the most oops in the criminal system. And when I say oops, what I mean is, how many times have you seen on TV or watched documentary where people have spent 10 years, 20 years, 30 years in prison, only to find out 30 years later that they convicted the wrong person? It does not matter how much compensation you give a person. There's no way you can give back a person 30 years of their life. And even in worst cases, the United States of America is famed to not only prosecute but execute people, only to find out later that, oh, it was the wrong person we executed. So here's what I'm saying. The American system has proven over time to not be perfect. And by me highlighting that, what I'm trying to say is, we can't see everybody that's been deported from the United States of America as criminals, because who knows? The United States of America has a flawed system. I lived in the United States of America, and it did not take me long to understand how the United States of America criminal system works. When the United States of America is presented with a crime, they want someone to pay. And in most cases, it does not matter who it is. As long as someone is convicted for that crime, according to the United States of America legal system, they have done a good job. So I don't know the deportees that were sent back to Jamaica. I don't know anything about their crimes. But what I'm trying to say to Jamaicans in Jamaica, don't be so quick to brand people that are deported to Jamaica as criminals. Secondly, I can't understand why Jamaica continues in the year 2020 to make a big deal out of people being deported back to their homeland, or people being deported from the United States of America. Then again, I can't understand, because Jamaicans continue to put the United States of America on this pedestal like it's a great place and the best place to be. I'm tired of hearing Jamaicans says, yeah, them go out foreign and then misbehave. I find that statement so hilarious. Misbehave. Jamaicans who move to the United States of America and are arrested for anything, they were just being human. Most of them became a victim of their environment. Most of them became a victim of their circumstances. And most of the crimes that's in America that's considered a crime would not be considered a crime in Jamaica. Let's say, for example, somebody in Jamaica was leaving downtown Kingston with a half pound of weed in his bag and was going uptown Kingston. And somewhere in the middle at Crossroads, they got stopped and they were found with this half pound of weed. In Jamaica, that is considered a small crime or almost nothing at all. In the United States of America, that is considered drug trafficking. And for the rest of that individual life, they will be seen as a felon because they had in their possession a half pound of weed. So you can't weigh up the same crimes in one country to another. In one country, looking at a woman who's topless could be a crime. You could be seen as a peeping Tom, you could be seen as a pervert, etc., etc. You go to some countries in Africa, and that's pretty much how women walk around, topless. So Let's use one of those for an example. So let's say I'm from one of those African countries where women walk around topless, and then I went to the United States of America and I was staring at a woman that was topless, and then I got deported back to my country, and somebody asked me, what was your crime in the United States of America? And I says, oh, I was looking at women topless. They would see this ridiculous. Anyway, whether or not a Jamaican in the United States of America commit a crime and was guilty, whether or not that crime was a petty crime or whether that crime is the most heinous crime on man's earth. The sad truth about that, when you're thinking about legality and nationality, that person is no less than a Jamaican, and Jamaica has to accept that person because his nationality overrules all criticism, overrules all scorns. So even if that person commits a crime that I'm totally against, and I believe that person deserves to have the worst hand down of sentence that the law can give a person, I still have to respect the fact that he or she possess the right as a national. You have to understand that the laws that are put in place are there to protect nationals as much as they are there to prosecute nationals. I mean, the laws usually swing both ways, but in most cases, laws are written to protect nationals. And in this particular case, the absolute right of abode, Jamaica is for Jamaicans. So I guess that is the answer for the question of who are Jamaicans. Jamaicans are for Jamaica. So the dismissal or the denial of Jamaicans coming into in the country recently just because of a suspicion of being not healthy, I will continue to say it is a constitutional, but before constitutional, it was a moral misconduct on behalf of the Jamaican government. Jamaicans don't have the best of reputations overseas, and because of that they're mostly mistreated or negatively criticized, and we have to own that. Even the best behaving Jamaicans have to own that, because you can't say, well, accept me. Even if you are the best behaving Jamaican, that does not exempt you from the title Jamaicans. So we have to take the good with the bad. You understand? We have to own them. As much, it's like having children. We have to own our children. We can't say, well, I have 6 children and I don't like the way that one behaves. I don't like the way that one acts. I don't like the things he's guilty of, so he's no longer my child. It doesn't work that way. We have to accept our good and our bad Jamaicans. We can't just accept the ones who shine under the great light of graces. And it was for that same reason why I criticized when the UK imposed visas on Jamaicans. If we are a colony of Jamaican, if we are the Queen's people, my argument was the Queen have to accept us for who we are. The ones that are breaking laws, the ones that are doing all illegal things and upsetting the masses or the government, we still have to accept them. But where that particular thing is concerned, the whole Jamaica took a spanking because of the behavior of a few. Anyway, that's politics that I really don't want to get into right now, so I'll just leave that where it is. But before I go, let me big up one of my subscribers, just one person this time.
Big up yourself to the maximum.
And the subscriber that I want to big up is a subscriber by the name of 123 Awa. The reason why I want to big you up, 123 Awa, I just want to say thank you very much for reaching out in my merch store and purchasing one of my merch. Thank you.
Big up yourself to the maximum.
And that's pretty much all I have to say today, people. Let me know how you feel about today's rambling. Let me know how you feel about my views, my opinion. And as you know in this channel, people, I accept thumbs up and I accept thumbs down. I accept agreement and disagreement, because at the end of the day, Each one teach one. You've reached the end of my video, and that in itself is a support that I truly appreciate. And while I'm at it, I will take this time out to let you guys know other ways that you can support my channel. The first and simplest way that you can support my channel is by giving this video a thumbs up. And the second and most important way that you can support this channel is by hitting that subscribe button and subscribe to my channel and follow me through my YouTube journey. Other ways that you can support my channel is by going to my Teespring online store and buying some of my merch. And another way that you guys can also support this channel is by joining me in Patreon to give me a contribution to support what I do on YouTube and what I do to entertain you guys. Once again, I want to thank you guys for your continuous support and ask that you join me, Ian T. Sebast, on YouTube and see where my journey takes me. Until next time, people. Peace.